Oral questions, questions orales. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, I regret to inform the House of Commons that one of our colleagues, Bernard Généreux, had a heart problem at the Quebec caucus. We had to call an ambulance. He is now at hospital in a relatively stable position. The Conservative family is in solidarity with him and his wife Tracy and all of his family. Does the government wish to offer its best wishes for our colleague?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Monsieur le Président, on veut...
Mr. Speaker, I would like to add, of course, my solidarity and the solidarity of all colleagues on this side of the House for the member for Côte-du-Sud, Rivière-du-Loup, Kamoistapik, Témiscouata, a territory I know very well, a member that I know very well. He's rather cheeky from time to time, but we are looking forward to seeing his excellent personality, his excellent spirit of collaboration, his great smile here with his parliamentary family and with his family as well.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Monsieur le Président.
Mr. Speaker, we've just heard bad news. Canada is the only country with 2 negative quarters, which is the very definition of a recession. Today, even more bad news from the Governor of the Bank of Canada, who said the Canadian economy has slowed down and inflation has gone up. The combination of economic slowdown and an increase in inflation creates a dilemma. He said the economy was weak. He said weak 9 times. Will the Prime Minister reverse the Liberal policies that led to this situation? The Honourable Minister for Finance. Mr. Speaker, I have good news for the Conservatives. Germany, 0.7%, Italy, 0.5%, Mexico, 0.8%, France, 0.7%, Japan, 0.6%, the United Kingdom, 0.9%, and Canada, 1.2%, Mr. Speaker. The OECD forecasts give Canada the second fastest growing economy in the G7. And we will continue to fight for this every single day.
The Opposition.
Question for the Prime Minister. Just over 10 days ago, we learned that Canada was the only country with back-to-back shrinking economies in 2 quarters, the definition of a recession. Today, we got even worse news from the Governor of the Bank of Canada, who said, and I quote, "The Canadian economy has remained soft and inflation has increased. Economic weakness combined with rising inflation is a dilemma." He used the word weak to describe this Prime Minister's economy 9 times. That translates into lost jobs, lost homes, and bigger lineups at food banks. Will the Prime Minister stand today, reverse the Liberal policies that caused this recession?
Hear, hear.
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I know it's Wednesday and the Leader of the Opposition is looking for good news. Let me help him. Germany, 1.1%. Italy, 0.6%. And then you're looking at Japan, 0.8%. You're looking at the United Kingdom, 1.1%. And then you're looking at Canada, Mr. Speaker, 1.7%. That is the growth projection for 2027, Mr. Speaker. And this is what the OECD just said recently. Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House, we're going to fight for Canadians because every day is a good day to fight for Canadians.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, more allusions from the other side of the House of Commons that Canada is the only economy in the G7 that has shrunk the last 2 quarters and 3 out of the last 4 quarters, the only economy smaller today than a year ago. And today, the Governor of the Bank of Canada described the Prime Minister's economy as weak 9 times. That translates, Mr. Speaker, into seniors who are forced to lose their homes and live in parking lots, according to a story by CTV. Will the Prime Minister stand up now and announce he will reverse the Liberal policies that caused the mess?
The Honourable Minister of Energy and Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker,
While the Leader of the Opposition chooses to cherry-pick points, what we know is the head of the Bank of Canada said our economy continues to show real resilience in the face of illegal and unjust tariffs and in the face of 2 economy-destroying wars. Canadians want us to focus on building. That's why we're building transmission. That's why we're building new hydro. That's why we're building new LNG. That's why we're building new nuclear. Maybe you should get out of the clouds and start helping us build.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister is hiding in the clouds and refusing to answer questions about the recession that he created here in Canada. The only thing he's been building is the sole recession in all the G20. There are 20 industrialized nations in that group. 19 of them are not in recession. 1 of them is in recession. And that translates into stories from the United Way, where 40% of Canadians are losing sleep because they worry they can't pay their bills. 60% have anxiety over their financial situation. Will the Prime Minister finally take responsibility and answer to them?
Ministre de l'Industrie.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister is a serious man who knows business, understands the economy, and right now is working with all the First Ministers, basically all the premiers of our provinces and territories, making sure that we're dealing with the impacts of the trade war, which is never alluded by the Leader of the Opposition. Notwithstanding this trade war, we were able to create last month 88,000 jobs across the country, particularly for young people, particularly for women. And not only that, we are now going through a trade surplus, the highest since January 25th, January 2025, which was before the trade war. Thank you.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The question was for the Prime Minister, and we don't need more excuses about the rest of the world. The other G20 countries face tariffs from the United States. None of them are in recession. Mexico is right next door to the United States and more integrated with the American economy than Canada is, and it is not in recession. Only this Prime Minister has delivered a recession. But we have solutions. Will he accept our ideas of eliminating the industrial carbon tax, getting rid of the newly renamed consumer carbon tax, no tax on gas for the rest of the year, no tax on capital gains reinvested to grow our economy? We have positive solutions to reverse his recession. Will he stand up and accept them now?
The Honourable Minister of National Defence.
Mr. Speaker, what's weak is the narrative. The Leader of the Opposition knows that his handful of tax changes is not going to contend with the economic challenges we're facing in the United States. It's not going to contend with the Ukrainian war. It's not going to contend with the Gulf War. And he cherry picks all the time. He doesn't talk about the 88,000 jobs up from last month. He doesn't talk about unemployment being down. He doesn't talk about foreign direct investment highest in 20 years. He doesn't talk about cutting taxes. He doesn't talk about increased capital gains eligibility. In fact, Mr. Speaker, what's interesting is there is no plan coming from that side.
The Honourable, he has one more left, right? Okay, the Honourable, l'Honourable Député.
The Honourable Member for Saint-Jean. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister is making concession after concession to Donald Trump. Back in July, he scrapped the digital services tax imposed on US internet giants. Then in August, he abandoned his retaliatory tariffs. This week, he is scrapping the royalties demanded on US online broadcasters, all this without getting anything in return. Today, the Prime Minister met with Quebec and the provinces, and rumour has it that he raised the issue of their boycott of American spirits. Did the Prime Minister ask them to follow his lead and accept yet another concession? The Honourable Leader of the Government in the House. Of course, Mr. Speaker, the government is more than ready to start trade negotiations, but the Bloc Québécois asked these questions for one reason. Because they had a very bad day yesterday after the strong opposition against the high-speed train, a position denounced by the mayors of the big cities of Quebec. A position, imagine this, denounced by the Journal de Montréal that says that they shot themselves in the foot. I confirm, Mr. Speaker, that yes, there's a bullet in their foot right now. The Honourable Member for Saint-Jean. On COSMA, the Prime Minister's concessions to the Americans go even further. When he used Bill C-5 to give himself the power to suspend laws to push through new pipelines, the big winners were the oil company's shareholders, 60% of whom are American. When he used Bill C-30 to give himself the power to reauthorize banned pesticides, the big winner was Bayer, which sells American seeds and pesticides from Monsanto. The Prime Minister is concentrating power in his own hands, but it is the Americans who are benefiting. Is that what he truly means as a strong Canada? The Honourable Leader of the Government in the House. I would like to give the definition of a strong Canada, Mr. Speaker. It's a Canada that can achieve great things, that knows how to build projects with Quebec and Canadian workers, with Canadian material, with steel, Canadian steel, Canadian aluminium, a society that is creating opportunities for youth. That is what it means to build a strong Canada. Unfortunately, the Bloc Québécois doesn't know any of this and do not participate in this strong Canada. The Honourable Member for Drummond. Well, they love to dream. They don't love to act. The main victim of the Prime Minister's capitulations is French language culture. Abandoning the digital services tax means a loss of $1.4 billion a year. Abandoning royalties for online broadcasters means billions of more left on the table. Above all, it means abandoning a permanent solution to cultural issues, replaced by temporary public funding subject to the whims of Canadian governments. Ottawa is definitely abandoning a decade-long struggle to make the web giants contribute. Did the minister know, upon his appointment, that he was being tasked with being the gravedigger of our culture? The Honourable Minister. Mr. Speaker, what the Bloc Québécois spends its fourth decade doing absolutely nothing in the House of Commons, we are acting. In the last budget, we've invested $750 million in the National Film Board, in Téléfilm, in CBC Radio-Canada. Now they're spitting on $600 million a year. They keep talking, we keep acting for Canadian culture.
Member for North Island, Powell River.
There used to be a promise here in Canada, Mr. Speaker, where if you worked hard, paid your taxes, and followed the law, you could afford a home, groceries, and a decent standard of living. Now, after 10 years of Liberal government, for most Canadians, that promise no longer exists. According to a new survey from the United Way, 60% of Canadians now feel anxious about their finances. 38% struggle with food insecurity, and 40% are losing sleep. When will this Prime Minister acknowledge that his policies of more spending, more debt, and jet-setting around the world just aren't delivering real results?
Hear, hear. The Honourable Secretary of State for Seniors.
Vancouver Islanders in his riding and mine deserve facts, and labeling the economy without context does not help workers or businesses. 22 nation-building projects driving over $125 billion in capital investment, 88,000 new jobs in May, exceeding market expectations. Wages are growing almost twice as fast as in the United States. Disposable income rose 2.3%. Household savings are above historic norms. These are the facts, but I've never met a Conservative that didn't let the facts get in the way.
The Honourable Member for North Island, Powell River.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I can tell you most people on Vancouver Island know one thing, and that's the economic policies of this Liberal government have been hurting young Canadians the most. Young people who can no longer afford homes in the communities that they grew up in, whose jobs have been shipped overseas or taken by temporary foreign workers, whose streets on which they play have been flooded with dangerous drugs, and whose futures have been mortgaged this year alone with $80 billion in new debt. When will this government reverse its policies and stop throwing the next generation under the bus?
Hear, hear. The Honourable Secretary of State for Seniors.
Mr. Speaker, young people know that this government is there for them. They know that because they have a majority of the new jobs that are being created, and they also know that business investment has increased for the second consecutive quarter in Canada. They know that the IMF projects Canada will be the fastest growing economy in the G7 in 2026 and 2027. They know that this government has a plan that we are executing on that has their backs for a good future. Joe Rogan might be impressed by kettlebells and empty rhetoric, but in the words of the great Shania Twain,
Prime Minister calls it just a little economic weakness, just a settling in period. Well, I'm a little more simple. I'll just call it by what it is, a recession. And today, the United Way quantified for us that feeling that things just aren't very good right now. 9 in 10 Canadians experiencing financial anxiety, and CTV reporting that fully employed Canadians are sleeping in campers to survive. This is a made-in-Canada problem. Mexico, same trade war, no recession. Even Russia, full-scale war, economically sanctioned, no recession. So what's the excuse today?
The Honourable Minister of Artificial Intelligence and Digital Innovation.
Mr. Speaker, every single day the opposition plays the same song, gleefully running down our economy instead of building it up. That's not leadership. Instead of pointing out 88,000 new jobs created in the May report, trade surplus up 55%, highest in 15 months. Total exports reached a record high. We are building this country. We are investing in this country. We are supporting our workers. Yes. They should give it a try.
Member for York Durham.
Mr. Speaker, every day they play the same game, claiming success for any small ray of sunlight, but shirking responsibility for everything else. Canadians don't believe them. The United Way said today 57% of Canadians, all age and gender groups, believe that the public finances are being poorly managed. 2/3 of Canadians are anxious about the future, so they don't believe in the job the Prime Minister is doing today, and they aren't buying his promises for tomorrow. So will the Prime Minister finally get up, accept responsibility for his choices that are having devastating consequences on Canadians today?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, it would be a little more plausible that the opposition party cared about workers, cared about investment, if they didn't oppose every investment, every support for workers, for families. Dental care, they oppose. Affordable housing, they oppose. They oppose investment in their own communities. Laval, Tool and Mold, we invest in there, they oppose. Jan Engineering, we invest, they oppose. Post Packaging, they oppose. Mr. Speaker, instead of opposing support, boost, and investment, they should get on board and start building.
The Honourable Member for Pitt Meadows, Maple Ridge.
Mr. Speaker, after a decade of Liberal inflation and economic mismanagement, Canadians are the ones that are paying the price. A new United Way survey found that 60% are anxious about their finances and 40% are losing sleep trying to make ends meet. More than 2 million Canadians relied on food banks every month last year, and in Maple Ridge, food bank use has doubled in the past 5. How much worse that must it get before this Liberal Prime Minister reverses the costly policies driving Canadians into hardship?
Great question. Well done.
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, as a fellow British Columbian, the member opposite, I'll say the people of BC are optimistic about our future, like this side of the House.
That's right.
We see major projects coming to BC that are going to boost our economy in BC. We see rents coming down. We see affordability coming back to the table. We see benefits to British Columbians that the other side of the House has opposed every step of the way, whether it's to our youth, whether it's to our young workers. We're interested in taking action here right across the country to support Canadians, grow the economy, and deliver affordability, not be stuck in the mud. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Lethbridge.
Under this government, Canada is in a recession, and it's the only G20 country for which that's true. After a decade of reckless Liberal policies and economic mismanagement, Canadians are ultimately having to pay the price. A new United Way poll found that 60% of Canadians now feel anxiety about their personal finances, and 40% struggle with food insecurity. This crisis was not created abroad, it was created because of Liberal policies right here at home. So how much worse does it have to get before this government reverses course and makes life more affordable for Canadians?
The Honourable Minister of Fisheries and Oceans.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to take this opportunity to talk about the $8 billion investment in 5-Wing Goose Bay in Labrador in my province. I'll also take the opportunity to talk about the almost $1 billion in small craft harbors. The funding available to help our young people train in red seals industries. We are building this country, we are investing in Canadians, and we are protecting Canadians. Canadians. I invite this member to stop the nonsense and join us.
Honourable member for Lethbridge.
The small craft harbor doesn't conquer the food poverty that children across this country are experiencing, and especially those in my riding of Lethbridge. So with all due respect, I would ask the folks across the way, what will you do for Canadians? Because they're struggling. They're struggling. 60% of them are unable to sleep at night because they're not sure how they're going to make ends meet. 40% of Canadians are struggling because of food insecurity. That's the reality. And this government can turn a blind eye and pretend that that's not their reality, but at the end of the day, Canadians tell the truth, always, because it's their lived experience. To tell them otherwise is blasphemy from this government. What are you going to do about it?
Well, first of all, I would just remind the member who knows this to go through the chair, please. The Honourable Minister of Fisheries and Oceans.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am proud to stand here today and share with Canadians that 12 million Canadians will benefit from the groceries and essential benefits. I am proud to talk about the benefits associated with $10 a day childcare that allows families to be able to go into the workplace and know their kids are well cared for. I am proud to stand here and talk about the Canadian Child Benefit. I am proud to stand here and talk about the benefits of the school nutrition program. I will talk about the housing initiatives, affordable housing for people who need it the most, and on it goes. This is where
the honourable member for Mirabel. Mr. Speaker, hundreds of farmers from Mirabel braved the torrential rain today on Parliament Hill. They came to tell the Liberals that Alto's high-speed rail project in its current form is a no for them. It's a shame the minister didn't meet them. He could have answered all their questions, which Alto has refused to answer, by the way, since January. Mr. Speaker, if the Liberals think they'll be able to forcibly expropriate for a second time the farmers of Mirabel, they have the proof today that they're deluding themselves. Are they finally going to respect our farmers, meet with them, and answer their questions? The Honourable Minister for Transport. Mr. Speaker, I would like to reassure the member that I don't need him to meet farmers and producers. I come from a family of farmers. I often visit farmers and producers. I'm in constant conversation with farmers and producers, and it's because of this respect for the farming world that we will carry out this project in full consideration of farmers and producers' concerns. It's a real shame that the Bloc Québécois that promised to support this project are now renouncing their promise. I don't know how they think trains work, but trains have to go through somewhere. The Honourable Member for Mirabel. This proves that the debate on the high-speed rail project isn't over, Mr. Speaker. It's only just begun. We set up 4 conditions: social acceptability, an independent financial assessment, backing down on infringements of rights in the event of expropriation, and holding proper consultations. 0 out of 4. So don't ask yourselves why the farmers are protesting. Alto is already on their land carrying out tests. And when the landowners say no, they send drones after them. So I'm offering the minister a lift, a car ride to Mirabel to come and answer the citizens' questions. He'll even be able to choose the music in the car. Is he up for the ride? The Honourable Minister for Transport. Mr. Speaker, I would like to reassure the honourable member that we do have the freedom of movement in Canada. I can go from my region to another region very rapidly, and I don't need him or his car to go see farmers and producers. I respect them, I listen to them, and they have my full consideration in their opinion on this great project that will link, among others, the 4 biggest cities of Quebec. We will build this project and taking into account the opinions of everyone. The Honourable Member for Lévis-Lotbinière. Mr. Speaker, hundreds of people have gathered today on Parliament Hill to make their voices heard regarding the Alto train, which threatens the survival of our communities. And amongst them are many farmers whom the Liberal government is threatening to prevent from crossing their own land by cutting it in 2. Mr. Speaker, I do not know a single farmer who wants to see the high-speed train running across their land. Will the Prime Minister listen to the farmers' voices and suspend construction on this project that is going right off the rails? The Honourable Minister. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have full respect for farmers and producers with whom we want to work to find a good balance in the project. What is a shame is that the Conservatives on every project want to keep us decades behind the times. In Europe, in France, Spain, the United Kingdom, they have high-speed rail where it works with farmers and producers. It goes through fields, and we can do that well as well in Canada with infrastructure that will revolutionize our country and that will change our way of doing business. It would be good for once for the Conservatives to hop on board. The honourable member, if the Minister of Transport thinks it's not a good idea, then he should go speak to farmers that are being threatened with expropriators. The experts are unanimous. This ideological project is completely irresponsible in terms of our public finances, and there is no evidence of its profitability. The Liberals want to leave us with a white elephant that runs on subsidies. Mr. Speaker, with $90 billion, we could renovate almost all of our infrastructure in Canada and become the world's agricultural superpower. What are the Liberals waiting for to invest in projects that will actually create wealth in Canada? The Honourable Minister for Industry. Mr. Speaker, we are the party that wants to create wealth in Canada. What are we doing in this tariff war? We're controlling what we can do here in Canada. We can't control the rest of the world. What we can control is how we build, how we can create 51,000 jobs with the high-speed train. We can create a link between the 4 biggest towns in Quebec: Montreal, Quebec City, Laval, Gatineau, and Trois-Rivières. We can also connect it to Ontario and Toronto. We can do what other great countries are doing in the world. We can build in Canada, and that's what we're doing. The Honourable Member for Charlesbourg, Haute-Saint-Charles. Mr. Speaker, a report published today by Centraide reveals that, or United Way, reveals that Canadians are increasingly concerned by their financial situation. The report reveals that 60% of Canadians are anxious about their finances and 38% are food insecure. Whilst families are struggling to build a future for themselves, the government wants them to fund a high-speed rail project that would cost over $100 billion, and even then they admitted this morning that they have no idea of the cost. If Canadians can no longer afford to buy food, why do the Liberals think they can afford to cough up $100 billion for a train? The Honourable Secretary of State for Nature. Mr. Speaker, that's a very interesting question that's been asked today. Transit that will allow us to have easier ties between our provinces. That is an important element for the structure of our economy that will promote trade, that will promote our economic transfers between Quebec and Ontario, and this in a sustainable way. So that's a positive step forward to go towards net zero carbon. This will have a major impact in a positive way in many fronts. We will do so in a collective way. We can do things well, and it will be interesting to work with everyone.
The Honourable Member for Charlesbourg, Haute-Saint-Charles. Mr. Speaker, I think the Secretary for Nature didn't understand what I said in my first question. 60% of Canadians are feeling anxiety. 32% have food insecurity. The government wants to move forward with a high-speed rail train that's going to cost over $100 billion while people are hungry. How do you think that people are going to be able to buy a ticket for that train when they can't even buy groceries? Can the Secretary answer that? The Honourable Secretary of State. Well, Mr. Speaker, we understand the difficulties that Canadians are facing right now. Last Friday, we delivered the Canada Groceries and Essentials benefit. We are very aware of the current situation. But if we really want to get out of it, we need to invest. We need to make sure that we have the means to do things differently. And that's what we're doing. We're helping Canadians today. They see the results, but we're also helping Canadians over the long term.
The Honourable... Is it Red? No, Bow River.
The Honourable Member for Bellechasse, Les Etchemins-Lévis. Mr. Speaker, a United Way survey confirms the disaster that is this government. 60% of Canadians are dealing with financial anxiety and 22% of Canadians have personally experienced poverty, compared to only 19% last year. Under this Prime Minister, Canada is the only G20 country in recession, and we've said it many times, it's because of this government's mismanagement. When will the Prime Minister finally scrap his costly policies so that Canadians can finally get back on their feet financially, Mr. Speaker? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Canadian Identity and Culture. Mr. Speaker, I don't know where you were last Friday, but I was at the Cercle des Fermiers in Maisonneuve, and I hope everyone can have a similar experience. And what people wanted to talk to me about was the Canada Groceries and Essentials benefit. The Cercle des Fermiers is made up of dozens of women, many of whom are seniors, who are living, many of them, in vulnerable situations. And what we were able to confirm is that this was concrete help. That's what Canadians are looking for right now. It's concrete measures to help them.
The Honourable Member for Nunavut.
I was raised in a system designed to eradicate my identity as an Inuk. While I've had my struggles, as many Inuit and Indigenous peoples have, we continue to show our strength and practice our traditions. We still speak our Indigenous languages, use our practices, and celebrate our successes. I thank my elders, communities, and loved ones. Could the Minister share how Canadians can join in recognizing National Indigenous History Month and how we all can work to advance reconciliation?
The Honourable Minister of Indigenous Services.
Speaker, I want to thank my honourable colleague for that important question. As the Iwasque'l from the community of Waswanipi celebrating their 50th anniversary today, we are taking moments this month to honor who we are as part of National Indigenous History Month. We are here to celebrate our strength, resilience, and culture. I am proud to work with my colleagues who are First Nations, Inuit, Métis, demonstrating the fierce resistance representing every part of this country. Nuiwaje Madwenjij, Iut Gatskanashdo, Utenhau Canada, Ishmeoshi, Neske Métis Wenjij, Zwayapno.
The Honourable Member for Foothills.
Canada is the only G20 country in a recession, and the business leaders who actually create the jobs and attract the investment are raising the alarm. The CEO of one of Canada's largest energy companies said the Liberals' industrial carbon tax and anti-development laws make investing in new projects unfinanceable. That's interesting because a year ago the Prime Minister promised Canadians we would build, baby, build. But build, baby, build is now another Liberal broken promise. Will the Prime Minister just admit that his vision for Canada's energy sector is to tax it, regulate it, and eventually kill it?
Honourable Minister of Energy and Natural Resources.
Mr. Speaker, we don't need any lessons from them about building. We're building transmission lines in New Brunswick. We're building wind farms in Nova Scotia. We're building new nuclear in Ontario. We're building pipelines in British Columbia. We're building pipelines in Alberta. We don't need any lessons from them on how to build.
Honourable Member for Foothills.
Well, it's clear they're not taking any lessons from the business leaders in this industry. The CEO of Cenovus was crystal clear. Building a new pipeline and expanding oil production to fill it is unfinanceable. That means the Liberals' anti-energy policies and carbon tax make investing in nation-building projects impossible. But the Liberals supporting these anti-energy policies shouldn't be a surprise. When he was Trudeau's fiscal advisor, this Prime Minister endorsed those policies and implemented the carbon tax. So why does this Prime Minister still support these policies that have plunged Canada into a recession?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, maybe instead of reading headlines, he'd actually come and talk to people like the CEO of Shell, who just invested $20 billion in this country, and is about to invest another $40 billion in LNG Canada too. So why don't they come and actually try and help build? Jobs.
The Honourable Member for Dufferin-Caledon.
Every month there is a new report that shows how difficult life has become under this Liberal government. Last night it was a damning report from Food Banks Canada, and this month we have a report from the United Way that says 60% of Canadians now have anxiety just thinking about their finances, and it's gotten worse in the last year under this Liberal government. At what point do these Liberals realize their policies are causing all of the problems that Canadians are facing and reverse course?
The Honourable Minister for Women and Gender Equality.
Mr. Speaker, at the center of everything we're working on as a government, Mr. Speaker, it's affordability. In my riding of Mississauga-Streetsville, it's a worker who can keep more of their money in their pocket, since we are cutting taxes for 22 million Canadians.
That's right.
And we've also provided Canadians with the Canada Groceries and Essentials benefit, Mr. Speaker. We're providing Canadians with that type of support, and it's even the senior who can get access to that dental care appointment, Mr. Speaker. What do the Conservatives have against seniors that are smiling, Mr. Speaker? Because thanks to our government, we're going to be there, we're going to make jobs, and we're going to make life more affordable for them.
Well done. Well done. Well done.
Member for Dufferin-Caledon.
It's really unbelievable, Mr. Speaker. Every week they stand in the House of Commons and brag about the fact that for the first time in Canadian history, a government has to send money to Canadians so they can buy groceries. Think about that for a minute. That's the country that they've created in Canada. Things have gotten so expensive under their watch, they actually have to send Canadians money for groceries. And then they brag about it. It's almost like the arsonist who burnt down your house saying, thank you very much for putting out the fire. It's their policies that are causing all the problems. Why won't they realize it, stop their costly policies, reverse course, and follow the Conservative plan?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, contrary to what you're hearing on the other side, we recognize that we are in a trade war, but despite this, Canada is in a position of strength. You've ever heard today that Canada posted a $2.7 billion trade surplus, the highest in 15 months. Our economy is growing nearly twice as fast than that of Germany and Japan, and nearly 3 times as fast as that of Italy. Mr. Speaker, we're going to be there for Canadians. We're going to make sure we're going to create affordability. In fact, $20,000 is what the average family is going to be able to save thanks to our government's policies. We're going to build this country strong and support Canadians at the same time.
The Honourable Member for Oshawa.
Mr. Speaker, after 11 years of Liberal inflation, new United Way survey confirms what Canadians have been saying for years. They're struggling to afford life. 1 in 5 Canadians have experienced poverty, 38% struggle with food insecurity, and 60% have real anxiety about their finances. While Canadians are stretching every dollar, this Prime Minister has stretched Canada's economy into the only recession in the G20. Will he finally abandon the costly Liberal policies that caused this crisis, or is making life unaffordable part of the plan?
Yeah, good question. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we recognize that there are challenges across the country and that there are people struggling with the cost of affordability. That's exactly why we've put in place the groceries and essentials rebate.
I understand why, but we'll let the Honourable Parliamentary Secretary start over.
Mr. Speaker, we recognize that there are challenges across the country. That's exactly why we cut taxes for 22 million Canadians. It's why we've put in the groceries and essentials rebate. It's why we've doubled down on social programs that matter for everyday Canadians. But we reject the premise of the way that the Conservatives are framing the question that the government policies has resulted in the challenges that that Canadians are facing. We are facing a trade war from our largest trading partner. 75% of the goods and services go to the United States. There's a war in the Middle East, a war in Eastern Europe. We are dealing with the circumstances and putting forward an economic plan to build this country and support Canadians at the same time, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Oshawa.
Mr. Speaker, the only thing growing faster than Canadians' grocery bills is the gap between Liberal talking points and reality.
That's right.
The President and CEO of the United Way warns, quote, "This is not a crisis on the horizon, it is happening now." In Oshawa, that's a single parent or a senior choosing between groceries and rent, an auto worker who has lost their job and is still waiting on the U.S. trade deal this Prime Minister promised, but has failed to deliver. Why does this Prime Minister refuse to accept the facts? His policies are driving the G20's only recession, and Canadians are the one paying the price.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, may I respectfully ask across the way why that member votes against the measures that support the good people of Oshawa, that support people across this country? Mr. Speaker, as we said in the last answer, we are here fighting for Canadian industry, for business. That member has voted against tax cuts for Canadians. That member has voted against supports in strategic financing to support the auto sector in this country. The Minister of Industry is working with that sector to support members, and that member stands up and doesn't recognize that we've created 88,000 jobs in the last month alone, Mr. Speaker. We have a plan to help build the country strong and support Canadians that are facing vulnerability at this time.
The Honourable Member for Souris Moose Mountain.
Mr. Speaker, the facts are clear. Under the Liberals, Canada is the only G20 country in a recession.
A United Way survey shows that 60% of Canadians are worried about their finances. 40% of them are losing sleep over bills, and food insecurity is on the rise. I hear from families that work hard, do everything right, and are still struggling to make ends meet. Some farmers, the very people who produce our food, are now having to turn to food banks. Why does this Liberal Prime Minister refuse to admit that his costly policies are driving Canadians deeper into debt, forcing more families to food banks, and making life more or less affordable every single day?
The Honourable Secretary of State.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. We understand that there is a lot of struggle.
No, I haven't given the member the. I just wanted to wait for things to quiet down a bit. The Secretary of State for Rural Development.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. We understand that there are struggles within Canada, and we're addressing those struggles. But, Mr. Speaker, for 10 long years, 14 Conservative MPs from Saskatchewan did absolutely nothing to help the situation throughout the country, Mr. Speaker. Their disservice, Mr. Speaker, is shameful, and our patience has run out in Saskatchewan. I say to the people of Saskatchewan, don't let the Conservatives limit your power and limit our ability. Join us in building that great Canadian economy.
The Honourable Member for Souris Moose Mountain.
Mr. Speaker, for 11 long years, that member's been attacking our province. Under every single measurement you can find, his riding has gotten worse. Food insecurity is worse. Cost of living has increased. Food inflation has increased. There's even a re-emergence of scurvy, a 16th century disease that we thought we had banished to the history books is now in his riding. When will that government finally reverse its costly policies that are making life inhumane for Canadians?
The Honourable Secretary of State.
Mr. Speaker, we will not take any lessons from the Conservative when it comes to supporting our agricultural community in Saskatchewan. They did absolutely nothing to recognize that Canadian canola is the best in the world, Mr. Speaker. What did we do? Our Prime Minister marketed our canola.
No. I can't hear. I can't hear. And then if I can't hear, I don't know if any rules are being broken. The Honourable Secretary of State may conclude. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, they had nothing in their platform to support the Canadian agricultural sector. Mr. Speaker, our Prime Minister secured the second largest customer for canola, and that's China. We'll compare it any day of the week to what they have not done versus what we have done on this side of the aisle.
The Honourable Member for Provencher.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians are losing sleep because of this Prime Minister. A new United Way report confirms 40% say they lie awake worrying how to stretch their paycheck to pay for food, gas, and housing. And while Canadians are awake with anxiety, these Liberals are asleep at the wheel, refusing to acknowledge that they've driven Canada into the only recession in the G20. Canadians carry the stress and lose the sleep while the Liberals keep hitting the snooze button on the consequences. Will this Prime Minister wake up and reverse his costly policies that are keeping Canadians awake at night?
The Honourable Minister for Northern and Arctic Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, I am so happy to be on this side of the House because Canadians voted for this new government because we have a plan and that plan is working. I don't know why the member opposite has voted against every measure that is supporting Manitobans. Affordable childcare, cutting taxes at the pump, automatic tax filing, groceries and essentials benefit that came out this Friday that's supporting so many members, so many citizens in his riding. So he needs to get on board and start supporting what we're doing on this side of the House.
The Honourable Member for Piedmont-Dollard. Mr. Speaker, our government is taking action to make housing more affordable, and our communities want to see more housing. We are meeting growing demand, and we are supporting their development. Can the Minister please explain how our government is helping communities build more housing faster? The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to thank my colleague for the question. Thanks to Build Canada Homes, we are putting in place new tools to accelerate housing construction, to mobilize public land, and to support innovative construction methods. And today, the House has the opportunity to support the Build Canada Homes Act. And I encourage all members to vote in favour of this important measure, which will help us deliver more affordable housing to communities across Canada.
The Honourable Member for Selkirk, Interlake Eastman.
Mr. Speaker, everything these Liberals say about our military is just an illusion. They promised our troop raises, but they never materialized. Retention benefits to reserves are missing in action. The Liberal minister is cutting housing support to our troops by up to $7,000 a year, plus he's hiking housing rents on Canadian Armed Forces members. Our military is short over 8,600 personnel, and over half of our military occupations are suffering critical staff shortages. Why is the Defence Minister making retention worse for our soldiers, sailors, and aviators?
The Honourable Minister of National Defence.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm not sure where the member's been, but he hasn't been to any one of our 33 bases lately. He's not seeing the investments that are being made there. He's not seeing the improvements that have been showing up. 61% increase in applications this year, year over year. 13% increase in those accepted into the forces. Reductions in times for training. 8, 13, and 20% increases in salaries. Mr. Speaker, it's so bad, I don't even think, I really just can't figure out how we can make this stuff up.
Member for Selkirk, Interlake Eastman.
Well, let's separate the fiction and actually have some reality here. Most of our troops aren't seeing a bump in their paychecks because the Liberals continue to claw it back at every opportunity. Rents are up by more than 5% for military housing. Housing support is down in more than 10 of the major housing posting locations. These reckless cuts are making retention and readiness much worse. How can our brave women and men who serve in the Canadian Armed Forces trust these Liberals when they give with one hand and claw it back with the other? Will the Defence Minister reverse these bad policies and actually start improving retention of our brave women and men?
The Honourable Minister.
It's a good day to answer this question, Mr. Speaker, because in fact, a year ago today we announced that we would achieve 2% of our GDP expenditures for defence. I remember where this member was at the end of the Harper regime, when it was less than 1%. I didn't see him fighting then for the money that we needed for our forces. In fact, he's been missing in action. So, Mr. Speaker, on the housing front alone, we're building 7,500 new units. 800 units are under construction now. 3 new apartment buildings have been purchased. We're making progress step by step by step, Mr. Speaker. That's exactly what the women and men of the forces deserve.
The Honourable Member for Algonquin, Renfrew, Pembroke.
Mr. Speaker, the Liberals' pay raise for the women and men of the Canadian Armed Forces is a farce. The Liberals are slashing the housing benefit by up to 72% while upping the rent by 5%. CAF members in the National Capital Region will see their housing differential cut by up to $4,200 a year. In Kingston, they'll see their housing differential cut by up to $7,200 a year. Wow. When will the Defence Minister reverse these harmful changes?
Hear, hear. The Honourable Minister of National Defence.
Mr. Speaker, we're going to continue to make thoughtful, systematic and disciplined investments in the Canadian Armed Forces. Hear, hear. Applications are up 61% year over year. The number of folks brought into the system's up 13% year over year. We have more women joining us. We're making progress on the cultural challenges inside the Canadian Armed Forces. We're buying weapons systems. We bought new rifles. We're building new homes. We're building for the future, Mr. Speaker. I know it's hard when you leave a mess like the last regime did under Mr. Harper. It's kind of hard to defend it.
The Honourable Member for Davenport.
Mr. Speaker, I have exciting news. June is Portuguese Heritage Month. And today we also celebrate Dia de Portugal, de Camões e de Comunidades, Portuguesas. Can the Honourable Minister of Canadian Culture and Identity and the Minister responsible for official languages speak to the significance of the Portuguese-Canadian community and its contribution to Canada's diversity?
Hey, great question.
The Honourable Minister of Canadian Culture and Identity.
Mr. Speaker, I want to start by wishing a happy Portuguese Heritage Month and a Feliz Dia de Portugal de Camões y das Comunidades Portuguesas to all Luso-Canadians. Since the 1950s, generations of Portuguese immigrants have come to Canada, and today nearly 500,000 Canadians trace their roots to Portugal. Across every sector, Luso-Canadians continue to enrich our society through their hard work, talent, and commitment to their communities, including in this House. It is a chance to reflect on the values that unite us and to celebrate the diversity that makes us strong. Obrigado.
The Honourable Member for Edmonton Southeast.
Under Liberal Prime Minister, Canada is the only G20 country in a recession. In Edmonton, families are feeling the effects of Liberal mismanagement. A recent United Way survey found that 60% of Canadians now feel anxiety about their personal finance. Global factors are not to blame. It is liberal inflationary spending and anti-development laws that have...
The members in the right corner are drowning out the member's question. So can the member start again?
From the top. From the top.
Under Liberal Prime Minister, Canada is the only G20 country in a recession. In Edmonton, families are feeling the effects of Liberal mismanagement. A recent United Way survey found that 60% of Canadians now feel anxiety about their personal finance. Global factors are not to blame. It is Liberal inflationary spending and anti-development laws that have staled our economy. Canadians deserve better. Will this Prime Minister reserve his costly policies causing this crisis so Canadians can afford to live again?
The Honourable Minister of Emergency Management and Community Resilience.
Mr. Speaker, our government has a clear plan to build Canada strong by creating good careers for workers in Alberta and across the country. Last month, 14,000 new jobs were added to Alberta's economy. We know there's more work to do. That's why we're building big and scaling up efforts to recruit and train and hire up to 100,000 additional skilled trade workers. Mr. Speaker, simple question. Why are the Conservatives so disappointed by positive news?
The Honourable Member for Edmonton Strathcona.
Mr. Speaker, Doug Ford wants to force through a $5 billion Billy Bishop expansion that the people of Toronto do not want. Good thing the Ontario NDP are fighting back. But where are the Liberal members of Parliament? Nowhere to be found. In fact, they're hiding behind a sham consultation the community groups say is a waste of time, with no business case, no environmental assessment, and no details. If Toronto Liberal MPs won't represent the people who elected them, will the Prime Minister step in and stop this scheme?
Hear, hear. The Honourable Minister of Transport.
Well, I want to assure the member from Edmonton that the 23 Liberal MPs from the 416 are incredible members who represent their people, represent that city, make sure we have housing and other investments that will move that city forward. We, of course, will continue to listen to the people of the GTA. We will, of course, listen to the voice of Toronto as we continue to move forward on this very important file.
Ceci met fin à une autre période des questions du mercredi.
This concludes the question period for Wednesday.